Hello, 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 and welcome to Believe. That's BLEAV in lines, right here on the Believe Network. I'm your host, as always, at Javanaugh87, Jack Kavanaugh, and I am joined, as always, by the all pro safety for the Detroit Lions, who we really could have used today against the Vikings because there would have been no blown coverages in that back end to lose to the Vikings. So I am joined by the one, the only Glover Quinn.
What is up? Oh, tell me about it. Blown coverages.
Devastating.
Just devastating. Devastating secondary play today.
It was, and they really missed Tracy Walker after he went down with an ankle injury, quickly ruled out. Never like to see that. But the thing that drove me craziest was the 4th down and 4. All you need is a first down to win the game. And instead, you kick the field goal. And if you make the field goal, you're up 6. So even when KJ Osborne scores that touchdown, you're still down 1. So I really didn't like that decision when a first down wins the game and you've been successful on 3rd down multiple times throughout. Amon-Ra St. Brown had that 30-yarder to set up the Jamal Williams touchdown. What did you
That's
think?
that. Felt the same way. I was riding in the car and I was when it was 4th and 4 and I saw them getting ready to kick this field goal. I'm like, and I don't want to say the exact words that I used in my car, but I'm like, you've had a pair of big ones all day. All day. You went for it on 4th down. After the first missed field goal on 4th down, you was going for it all day. I think you were 4 for 6 on 4th down conversions, right? Now that it's crunch time, you opted to go for a 54-yard field goal that wouldn't even put the game out of reach, as opposed to saying, I got 4 yards to get. We've been going for it all day. We're going for it right now. Because even if you don't get it, you're still farther than with the missed field goal, right? Because when you miss a field goal, they get the ball from where you kicked it from, right? So you give them what, 7 yards, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't like that call. I thought that was I like you. I thought that was the play of the game. I thought that was the game that the play that I would have loved to see Dan go for it right there, man. Like I said, I felt like he got a little tight, just and he went for the kick, and I would have loved to see him go for it on 4th down. I don't know if DeAndre Swift been injured, Amon-Ra St. Brown not being healthy. I don't know if any of those things contributed to that, but I would have put all those guys on the field and went to TJ Hawkinson or somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just need 4 yards, TJ. I just need you to figure out a way to block somebody out to get me 4 yards to win the game. So I didn't like that call.
I didn't either. And I especially don't like it. You can do all the hindsight coaching, but then immediately the Vikings start ripping off large gains and then the wide open touchdown to KJ Osborne. That was the problem, was the blown coverages, the missed assignments, both the touchdowns wide open with, I believe Mike Hughes was supposed to be in coverage for both of them. I could be incorrect. A lot of emotions flying, but Adam Thielen wide open in the end zone. KJ Osborne just torches Mike Hughes. You can't have that. You can't have those missed assignments.
Well, it looks like, the one with Adam Thielen just wide open, you know, they did some kind of action and motion and this and that. So that had to been bad eyes. I mean, for somebody to be that wide open, the defender either fell or it's just bad eyes. He just didn't see him, actually. You know what I'm saying? But on that last one, from what I could see, it looked like the coverage that they were playing, and I could be wrong, but it looked like there should have been a safety there.
Okay.
Because if they were playing some kind of because the thing that I saw is they were in man to man or some form of man to man because money was closed in on Adam Thielen. and Mike Hughes, the nickel, is on Osgood, right? But when you look at the positioning, he's inside leverage, right? He's inside leverage. So if he's inside leverage, you have no chance on the corner route. But most of the time, when you're playing inside leverage like that, you have a safety over the top. So you're playing some kind of two-man where you want to be inside and underneath because you got a safety that's over the top to play that corner route for you. If they were blitzing, then he shouldn't have been pressing, because when you blitz, you want to play off so you don't get a quarterback an easy read, an easy throw, and you want to give the blitz time to get there. If you were in cover one, then Mike Hughes shouldn't have been playing inside leverage. He should have been playing outside leverage, because in cover one, you only have one safety to help you, and he's in the middle of the field. So then you have to protect yourself on the corner route and push him to the post because the safety is in there. So, and then the way Mike turned around to look as if like something just wasn't right on that play. I don't know if it was a blown coverage. I don't know if it was a miscommunication and what they were supposed to be in, but it looks like Mike was thinking something or playing something, and one of the safeties or somebody was off on that play. I would love to see the all 22 on that play so I can see exactly what they were in and see exactly what was supposed to happen.
And that would make a lot of sense, especially without Tracy Walker. Things getting gummed up, the communication's not there, especially in Minnesota as well. So, a lot of factors at play. How much do you think losing Tracy Walker impacted the team, not just from the missed assignments, but the communication, just the alignments, everything? Because it seemed after they lost him, that's when the chunk plays started to happen.
Well, I mean, I think when you lose a guy like that, well, then obviously you're losing a big key to the secondary. You're losing the captain of the secondary, one of the captains of the team defense. You're losing your veteran guy, somebody that, like you said, that can help communicate, that can help keep the guys together, somebody that can make plays for you. You lose a lot when you lose one of your guys, and so I think one of the things I think happened is I don't know if they did a good enough job, in my opinion, of mixing things up. And what I mean is, you look at how the secondary was playing, right? They were playing off coverage some, right? You saw that. They were doubling Justin Jefferson a lot, right? So when I say mixing things up, you can't go a whole game doing the same thing. You can't say, okay, we're going to double Justin the whole game, because by the time you get to the third and fourth quarter, they're going to figure it out. They're going to see, okay, well, this is what we got to do, right? So you see by the end of the game, they very rarely throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson. They're throwing it to Thielen, and then they got Osgood involved in the game because they're seeing, hey, this nickel is one-on-one all game. They're doubling Justin, and they're putting a money on Thielen, and the nickel, he's by himself. So that's where we're going to attack, right? So I feel like at that point, yes, Justin Jefferson can beat you at any time. But by this point in the game, Jeff Okudah has got a good feel for Justin Jefferson right now. So if you're making stuff look the same, you can make it look like I'm doubling Justin Jefferson and going double Adam Thielen. You can make it look like I'm doubling Justin Jefferson and I'm doubling with the nickel, because we're making it all look the same and we're making them figure out who we're doubling after they snap the ball, right? If everybody's playing off and everybody's kind of playing in that area to where you don't really know, you can mix things up, and then you can get opportunities where Justin Jefferson is one-on-one, but they see it too late. They're not expecting him to be one-on-one, so they don't throw the ball. And you get him to hold it a tick longer than he wants to, which gives the defensive line time to get there. And just like in week one, injuries may be the factor, but I just don't recall hearing Aiden Hutchinson's name enough to be effective. You gotta have that. I don't remember hearing, you know, Malcolm Rodriguez name called enough to be effective. So just stuff like that, it just gotta be better.
And you could tell that at times Kirk Cousins was flustered. The pressure was in his face. He was forcing throws, he was getting intentional groundings. And that's really the only time Hutchinson did make an impact. I believe it was an intentional grounding by Kirk. But outside of that, you had other plays where he's just sitting in the pocket all comfy and then he's able to hit these big plays. So it really was an up and down day from the defensive line, from the pass rush, which was frustrating because we saw how effective they were last week. They bullied the Commanders' offensive line, and they ended up getting bullied a little bit themselves by the Minnesota offensive line. Dalvin Cook doesn't top 100 yards because he goes down with a shoulder injury. We're hoping for the best for him, but Cook has a history of shoulder separations throughout his career, dating
Right.
back to Florida State. So you never like to see that. But even when he goes down, Alexander Madison comes in and he takes 8 touches, 44 and a touchdown. He just
And a touchdown. Like,
and it was an angry run, a grown man run through the defense. There were opportunities to stop him. Same with Cook all day, and it just didn't happen.
yeah, he wanted it a lot more than the Lions wanted to stop him. I mean, Dalvin Cook was well on his way to 100 yards rushing. You know, they came out and they made it a point that they were going to get him the ball, which you knew that, right? He's the catalyst to their offense. They got Justin Jefferson and all those things, but when Dalvin Cook gets going, that opens up everything else, right? So they came out. He only had 6 touches last week. He was definitely going to have more than that this week. That's why, they had an over-under on if Justin Jefferson would get 12 targets this game. I said they got to go under. They're not going to target him that much coming off of how it went last week. So I knew that going into the game. And Dalvin Cook, he was on his way to a 100-yard game, and unfortunately he got injured. Like you said, we wish him the best. You never want to see that. But then it's like when he went out the game, I don't know if they let their guards down even more on the run game because this other kid came in and he, like you said, he was running hungry. He was running mad. He was running angry. He was running with a chip on his shoulder. And I'm pretty sure he bought himself a couple more carries, 8 carries, 44 yards and a touchdown, a grown man touchdown like that. He'll probably get more carries. And so I didn't like a lot of the defensive stuff. I mean, so many penalties in the secondary, giving them first downs. Like Amani just he didn't he just had he hasn't looked good to me. Even, you know, and I said this way back in August, even when I went out to training camp, he just didn't look good to me. And, you know, he's, dealt with some injuries, the back, and I mean, you can't be a defensive back and have 7, 8 penalties in a game. I mean, every time you have a penalty as a defensive back, it's a first down. It's either
Yeah.
holding, it's either face mask, it's either PI. Like every time you have a penalty in the secondary, it's the first down. And you just can't give them 8 first downs by penalty. Just can't do that. So I personally don't like what I'm seeing from Money right now. So hopefully he can get on the other side of that.
We really need him to because he has not played up to the hype of last year. The interceptions haven't been there. He was getting bodied by AJ Brown at times in week 1. Played better in week 2, I believe, but even then that was kind of a team win. Everyone played better that week. And then back to this where a lot of penalties, and you just can't have that against Kirk Cousins when you know what he can do and you know what he's like as a quarterback, because you can fluster him, you can take advantage of him. You don't need to get all handsy. You don't need to take these penalties. Make a play on the ball instead of just grabbing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I Adam Thielen at this point is not going to run past you.
No.
He's not going to run past you. He's not trying to run past you. He's literally trying to work underneath. That's what he's trying to do. So you have to understand that, man. Play off of him and sit on all his routes and be ready to drive on the ball. Like you're pressing him and you're getting caught up and tangled up and holding and grabbing and not like you can't cover like that. You got to use your feet, use your athleticism, use your size and make plays on the ball. Like you just can't do that. They didn't do anything to help themselves out. They did everything to hurt them. I mean, it just and then like, Amon Ross St. Brown gets injured, right? So that slows him down a little bit. You know, DeAndre Swift has the ankle, so that slows him down some. DJ Chark comes out early in the game and he's making plays, and it's like they stopped going to him. I don't know if the coverage was different or like they stopped going to him. I mean, TJ Hawkinson makes a catch, and I mean, how many times did he get targeted this game? I didn't see them like going at TJ very often, right? Like he's your number 8 overall draft pick. Like he should be able to pick up some slack when Amon-Ra St. Brown can't move the change for you. TJ is that guy that can move the change. You got to get him involved in the game. Like I just don't. It was like when DeAndre went down and got hobbled and Amon got hobbled. It was just like they didn't have anybody to turn to. So the offense just got, I mean, they come out 14-0 real quick, and then it just gets stagnant. They score one touchdown the rest of the game.
And that's the thing is that you have so many options. Harrison Smith didn't play that game. You've got a rookie and a basically rookie rotating to replace him. Take those shots to DJ Chark. Take those shots to TJ Hawkinson over the middle. It just left me wanting more for a lot of the game. And the worst part is I feel like the Lions really outplayed the Vikings. It felt like they were the better team for the entirety of the game until really the final 2 Vikings possessions is when everything changed. And it's frustrating because that's something that would happen in old regimes with the Lions where it would be the last second crumbling. I didn't expect to see this today. I thought we were at a point where we could trust the Lions to hold a lead, that they 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. I mean,
Against that team, right? I
yeah,
mean, if they're playing against, somebody, yeah, but like you said, I mean, at this point, you expect them to hold that. They had all the momentum. They're playing well. It's a 10-point lead. It's mid third quarter. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, they're gonna have to make a couple more plays to close the game out, right? We understand that. You just don't expect them to lose that game. And by not winning that game, like I say, they didn't do anything to help themselves win. But when Coach Campbell decided to kick that field goal, I was saying to myself right then, either way, I didn't like the result. Because even
yeah,
if he makes that field goal, you're still putting the pressure on your defense that's hobbled, right? Tracy's out. Amani's been struggling all day. Aiden hasn't gotten pressure. Like you're still putting pressure on your defense because it was still a minute 15 seconds left on the clock.
yeah.
They go down and score a touchdown, you're still going to lose by 1. So
And the Vikings had no timeouts either. A first down completely ends the game for the
ends the game.
Lions.
Ends the game. You have to go for it in that scenario.
Yeah.
Like I said, you've had a pair of big ones all day. When it get crunch time, they can't shrivel up. You just got to keep letting them hang. Excuse my French.
Oh, your French is excused because that is a great, a fantastic analogy. What are you expecting the Lions to be working on this week? And will that change depending on the severity of some of these injuries?
I was about to say that's what they got to work on. They got to work on getting those guys healthy because, as we can see, with DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown not on the field in their healthiest capacity, the offense is just not the same. So, playing a Seattle team that's I mean, they're playing right now. I don't know exactly, but they seem to play decent defense, right? You're gonna need those guys out there. I mean, Jamal's running the ball well, but if you don't have anybody that they fear in the pass game, and they're gonna have to get TJ more involved. Chark is gonna have to come through some kind of way. I like Reynolds, but he went down with an injury today. So don't know what's going on with him. So they got to find somebody else that can get the job done. And then defensively, like I say, in the secondary, I saw it in training. Who's gonna be the guy that's making plays? Yes, Deshaun Elliott tackled great today, right? Recovered a fumble, right? But there's nobody in the secondary creating these things. Dalvin Cook ran into his own guy and fumbled the ball. Somebody has to become a playmaker in the secondary. Otherwise, you're gonna always have these blow ups in the fourth quarter because, like I say, it's very difficult to keep teams at bay for an entire game. You can do it for a half, but then they make adjustments. And by the fourth quarter, they figured you out, and now they start to carve you up. So you got to be able to create turnovers. Otherwise, they're going to get you at some point. So they got to get healthy. You know, Aiden has to get more consistent. Something. We got to, I mean, we had one sack today, and it came from a linebacker,
Yeah.
right? So we got to get more consistently. And I know it's hard, and I know you're a little banged up, and I know all these different things. They got to find a way.
They do. There's really no other way about it, especially heading into this was at home against Seattle, but especially playing against a Seattle team that we've seen turns the ball over. We've seen Geno Smith throw some interceptions. We need them to step up big. And so is there any way to work on that specifically to generate turnovers, or is that just something that happens?
Well, I mean, you got to work on creating turnovers. You got to have that environment. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen. Like when I was in Detroit, we really focused on turnover. We used to do turnover drills every single day. Every single day we did turnover drills, and then we would calculate. We would keep up, with who can punch the ball out the most, right? Who's creating turnovers in practice, and it was from anytime they had a ball, right? They might catch a pass and run for a few yards, and they're hustling it. They're jogging back to the huddle. I might come up behind them and punch the ball out as they jogging back to the huddle, because we wanted to punch the ball out or do something at any given time. So that was the culture of what we were trying to do: create turnovers, turnover circus every day, punching the ball out every day, scooping the ball every time the ball was loose. We wanted the ball. So when you got in the games, those things are natural. You're naturally doing those things. You're naturally punching at the ball. You're naturally ripping at the ball. You've went through so many different turnover circuits, and you understand different ways to force and create turnovers. That's what you got to have. And, I don't know if they do enough of that, because you don't see enough guys. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are, but I would assume that the Lions are probably in the bottom 5 on turnovers. I
I'd
don't
have to
know.
imagine so.
I mean, they got one this week. Like, I don't know, outside of fourth down stops, I don't know anybody else that has like a turnover in game action. They had the one interception, but that was on a 2-point play
Yeah.
earlier in the season. I don't know anybody that has a turnover, forced fumble. I don't know anybody that has one in real game action till today.
And even today, it was not a forced fumble. It was a fumble recovery. That's it. That's the
Right.
one. That's the one turnover stat we get. So it feels as though the Lions play a lot of swarming defense. There are a lot of hats on a hat, a lot of guys swarming to the ball. But if you're in position, punch it out. The peanut punch, Charles Tillman. Go for those types of plays. So
Right.
I don't know. It just left today just leaves me feeling kind of deflated.
I'm deflated. I mean, I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I'm just, because, when you look at the course of a season, these are the games that haunt you in December, right? An opportunity to go on the road against a division team and get a win, right? You would have been 2-1. They would have been 1-2, and you would have had to head against them. right? And now the next time you play them, they got to come to you. So it gives you an opportunity to get the sweep. And you just can't let these games slip away. I mean, they've lost 2 games by a combination of 7 points, right? 3 points to the Eagles, 4 points to the Vikings. You know, you just can't let these games go to waste. And I feel like they let one slip away this week.
And now instead of everyone in the NFC North tied at 1-1, we've now got the Vikings at 2-1. Packers could move to 2-1 if they can take down the Buccaneers. And the Bears are now 2-1 because they beat Lovie Smith in his return to Chicago with the Texans. So unfortunately, it looks like the Lions are going to be last in the division exiting week 3.
Right. And that's what's sad because, I mean, last week I'm sitting here like, out of all the teams that in the division, the Lions are playing the best, right? They're playing better than Green Bay. They're playing better than Minnesota. They're playing better than Chicago. And then you drop this game and you go from a potential to be first in the division with the momentum, playing really good football. So now you're last in the division again. That's not where you want to be. And I know it's early in the season. They still got 14 games to play. I understand that. It's just tough. It's tough to be in that position because then everything starts to creep back in and you got to fight that mental hurdle of dealing with the media. Oh, well, you guys are in last place again. And are you guys really this? Or are you the same old line? Like all these little things that you just allow to creep in, all because of that one game. And like I said, I can link it back to that one play. I feel like you got to go on that 4th down, man. You just got to let it hang and go. And like I said, you've been getting first downs all day, so your team is on board. Like your team is on board. I didn't like that the last 4th down call that they made, the play call. I didn't like that slow developing counter run to the backside with no lead blockers out there like that. I just thought that was a bad play call. But you also got to look at why are we having so many 4th down conversions? It's because we're not converting on 3rd down. Why aren't we converting on 3rd down? Because the 3rd down conversions are longer. We're not getting enough on 1st down. Obviously, like I said, DeAndre Swift being out, that hurts in that regard. But we're not getting enough on 1st down or 2nd down, and we're in longer 3rd downs. And now we're playing in that gray area, right? We're at the 44, 45. Do we punt it? We might as well go for it, right? So you're in that same position at the end of the game, right? You've been prepared this whole game for that moment because you've been in that same position all game. And for some reason, you decided against it. So to me, those are defining moments when you look at a team, building a team. I've trusted you guys all game to go get that 1st down. And when a game is on the line, I put it in the hands of my kicker to kick a 54-yarder to not necessarily even seal the game, but just to make them have to score a touchdown. So that's tough for me.
It's tough. It really is. Lions fall to 1-2. Hopefully can move to 2-2 against the Seahawks next weekend. But in the meantime, it's just going to stink for a little bit. So Glover, any final thoughts on the Lions, on the NFL today, or are we just ready to put this one in the back burner? Look at the rear view mirror.
Well, you have to face it, right? We can't just put it in the rearview mirror. We have to face it. We have to understand what happened, why it happened, so we can correct it. For me, it's tough. It's tough to swallow this one, right? This one is a tough pill. I still like the Lions, but I obviously feel like with those injuries to those key guys on offense, their offense does not look the same. Tracy going down in the secondary, and I hope it's not an Achilles. But when you see those guys on the field and they're pushing that gas pedal. It's like they're trying to feel if I got something attached in the back. So for him to go out the game, right, and to not even get attempted to come back, right? You get carted off the sideline. That's tough. That's scary. So tough day for the Lions, man. Tough day for us. We're gonna have to talk about it. We're gonna have to hear about it. Um, I still like them, but those guys got to get healthy.
Need them to get healthy. Need them to put up a big performance this week. Just need more from these Detroit Lions. And we need you to hit that like button, subscribe to the podcast, leave us a rating and review, all that good stuff. Check out our sponsors over at Bet Online. Follow Glover at Glover Quinn on Instagram. I'm going to forget all of his accounts because there's too many of them.
They're on that one count.
Perfect. So we will get back together later this week, hopefully in a little bit more jovial spirits because that one stings. But until then, we will see you next time.
Peace.